It begins with a whisper in the dead of night, a soft, distant sound that grows into an unearthly clamor of knocking, scratching, and blood-curdling screams. The Bell Witch legend is a cornerstone of Tennessee folklore, a haunting tale that has endured for over 2 centuries. Its origins trace back to the early 19th century on the remote farm of John and Lucy Bell in the small town of Adams, Tennessee. What started as strange, inexplicable noises soon escalated into a relentless nightmare of physical assaults, eerie voices, and psychological torment. This malevolent force, known as the Bell Witch, became the stuff of legend, weaving fear into the hearts of all who heard its story. Passed down through generations, the tale of the Bell Witch has captivated the imaginations of believers and skeptics alike, its chilling influence echoing through books, films, and whispered campfire stories. The history of the Bell Witch is as unsettling as the haunting itself. The story begins in 1817, when John Bell, a prominent local farmer, and his family began experiencing strange occurrences on their land. At first it was subtle, knocking on the walls, the rustling of unseen movement, and faint whispers in the dead of night. But what began as a quiet disturbance quickly grew into a force of terror. The family's youngest daughter, Betsy Bell, became a prime target. Her hair was pulled, her cheeks were slapped, and she was subjected to physical assaults so violent that onlookers claimed to have witnessed her being thrown across the room by an invisible force. John Bell himself fell victim to the witch's wrath, suffering from a mysterious illness that worsened over time. His eventual death in 1820 was shrouded in suspicion, with many believing it was caused by the Bell Witch's final act of vengeance. The Bell Witch phenomenon is shrouded in mystery, and it's no surprise that it has faced its fair share of skepticism over the years. Critics have questioned the authenticity of the events, labeling them as mere fabrications, illusions, or exaggerations. Skeptics argue that tales of disembodied voices, levitating objects, and ghostly apparitions are the hallmarks of folklore, stories meant to entertain or caution listeners. Yet, despite these doubts, the legend has endured. One reason for its enduring power is the abundance of eyewitness accounts and testimonies. These accounts come not just from the Bell family, but from neighbors, visitors, and even respected members of the community. These witnesses described encounters with an unseen force that spoke to them in distinct voices, often repeating phrases and revealing knowledge that no one else could have known. The consistency of these testimonies has only deepened the mystery, forcing skeptics to contend with the possibility that something truly unexplainable took place on the Bell farm. The Bell Witch legend remains a masterclass in psychological manipulation. The entity's tactics were as varied as they were unnerving. One moment, it would engage in playful mimicry, imitating the voices of family members and visitors to sow confusion. The next, it would unleash a barrage of threats, its voice shifting to a guttural, inhuman tone. It fed on fear, exploiting the deepest insecurities of its victims. Its presence was inescapable, and no one, not even clergy, was immune to its influence. The Bell Witch's mastery of psychological warfare led many to believe that it was not just a vengeful spirit, but something far older, far more calculating. Was it a spirit with a grudge, as some believed? Or was it a darker force entirely, an ancient entity with motives beyond human understanding? The Bell Witch legend is a blend of history and myth, a tale that continues to haunt our collective imagination. It's a story that invites speculation, doubt, and fear in equal measure. At its core, it's a reflection of human vulnerability and the terror of facing the unknown. Over the years, it has become an enduring part of Tennessee's cultural heritage, inspiring novels, films, television specials, and ghost tours that draw thrill-seekers to the Bell Farm. The legend's staying power is a testament to its primal appeal. The fear of an unseen force, the suspicion that we are never truly alone, and the unsettling idea that the darkness we fear might be watching, waiting, and whispering just beyond the edge of sight. What makes the Bell Witch saga so unnerving is not just the nature of the haunting, but its enduring power to defy explanation. While many supernatural tales fade into the fog of local myth, the Bell Witch story has persisted for over 2 centuries, refusing to be dismissed or forgotten. Skeptics have long questioned the authenticity of the events, attributing them to the imaginations of frightened minds or the exaggerations of storytellers seeking attention. Yet skepticism alone cannot erase the chilling consistency of the eyewitness testimonies that continue to fuel the legend's fire. The Bell family's accounts, detailed and harrowing, stand as a stark reminder that something truly terrifying unfolded on their land. Visitors to the farm, some of them respected members of the community, claimed to have experienced the witch's fury firsthand. They reported being slapped, pinched, and shoved by an invisible force, their fear immortalized in written testimonies and oral retellings. Over the years, these accounts have been collected, scrutinized, and retold, each iteration adding a new layer to the legend's mystique. It's this tangled web of first-hand experiences, historical records, and unanswered questions that keeps the Bell Witch's shadow looming large over Tennessee's folklore. A ghostly reminder that some stories refuse to rest in peace. The events surrounding the Bell Witch are often described as inexplicable and terrifying, a nightmarish tapestry of fear woven from the accounts of those who lived through it. People reported an eerie chorus of strange noises echoing through the Bell home, persistent knocking on the walls, the sound of heavy footsteps pacing across empty rooms, and chilling disembodied voices that spoke in tones both mocking and menacing. These sounds were more than just noises. They were harbingers of the unseen presence that haunted the Bell family. Many believed that this entity was the restless spirit of a woman named Kate Batts, a local figure rumored to have been wronged by the Bell family. Some claimed she had been cheated in a land deal, while others whispered of a darker curse laid upon John Bell himself. This theory ignited a fierce debate, with some historians asserting that Kate Batts was a real person with a grudge, while others argued that she was a mere fabrication, a scapegoat conjured to explain the unexplainable. Regardless of the theory, the connection between Kate Batts and the Bell Witch remains one of the most enduring and unsettling aspects of the legend. Despite the many theories and explanations, the truth behind the Bell Witch phenomenon remains as elusive as the shadowy force at its heart. Generations of researchers, historians, and paranormal investigators have tried to unravel the mystery, but the threads slip through their fingers like smoke. Was it all an elaborate hoax? A mass hallucination born of fear and superstition? Or was it something far more sinister, a breach in the veil between this world and the next? We may never know for certain what transpired on that fateful farm all those years ago. But one thing is undeniable. The legend of the Bell Witch has left an indelible mark on Tennessee's cultural heritage. It has inspired countless books, documentaries, films, and even haunting ballads, each new retelling adding to the mythos of the Bell Witch's dark legacy. To this day, tourists and thrill-seekers visit the Bell Farm, hoping for a glimpse of the unseen force that terrorized a family and captivated the world. As we delve deeper into the legend, it becomes disturbingly clear that the Bell Witch was more than just a malevolent spirit. It was an embodiment of fear itself, a force that preyed on the deepest anxieties and vulnerabilities of those who encountered it. Witnesses described the entity's behavior as calculated and cruel, its torments growing more personal and invasive over time. It seemed to know the fears of its victims and exploited them with a malevolent intelligence. John Bell, in particular, became the focal point of its wrath, suffering unexplained ailments that some claimed were the result of supernatural poisoning. Betsy Bell, the youngest daughter, faced relentless harassment, with unseen hands striking her and pulling at her hair. This aspect of the legend has led to countless speculations about the true nature of the entity. Was it the vengeful spirit of Kate Batts, seeking retribution from beyond the grave? Or was it something far older, far darker, a force with no name, no face, and no mercy? Whatever it was, it left behind a legacy of terror that continues to haunt the imaginations of those who hear its story. One of the most shocking aspects of the Bell Witch story is the sheer brutality of the entity's attacks. Unlike the subtle, eerie signs of most hauntings, the Bell Witch's assaults were violent and physical, leaving no room for doubt about the malevolent force behind them. The Bell family and their visitors were subjected to an onslaught of aggression, with witnesses recounting how unseen hands would pinch, scratch, and strike them without warning. Betsy Bell, the youngest daughter, bore the brunt of this terror, her hair pulled violently by invisible hands, her body flung with inhuman force. These violent outbursts were often accompanied by loud, blood-curdling screams that echoed through the house, each scream sharper and more chilling than the last. What made these attacks even more unsettling was their unpredictability. The sounds came from nowhere and everywhere at once, filling the air with a palpable sense of dread. The sheer intensity of these attacks has led many to speculate about the true nature of the entity. Was it merely a spirit, or was it something far more sinister, a demon, or perhaps the devil himself, manifesting in the Bell home? The Bell Witch legend is a masterclass in psychological manipulation, a slow, calculated dissection of the human mind. The entity's methods were as varied as they were unsettling. One moment, it would engage in playful mockery, imitating the voices of family members or strangers to sow confusion. The next, it would deliver ominous threats in a guttural, otherworldly tone. The entity's ability to adapt and evolve its tactics suggested a disturbing level of intelligence and cunning. It seemed to thrive on fear, feeding off the rising tension it created in the household. This manipulation extended beyond the Bell family. Visitors and even clergy were not immune to its influence. The witch's ability to infiltrate the minds of those present, exploiting their insecurities and deepest fears, has led many to question whether the Bell Witch was more than just a vengeful spirit. Was it a trickster spirit reveling in human misery, or was it a far more ancient and malevolent force, one driven by a relentless hunger for control and fear? Regardless of its true nature, the Bell Witch's psychological warfare remains one of the most terrifying aspects of the legend. The Bell Witch legend is a blend of history and myth, a captivating tale that continues to haunt the imagination of all who hear it. It is more than a ghost story. It is a reflection of the human condition and the darkness that resides within us all. At its core, it's a story about fear, not just of the supernatural, but of the unknown and unseen forces that lie just beyond our understanding. The tale's longevity speaks to the power of this fear, as each generation finds new meaning in its chilling narrative. The legend has become an integral part of Tennessee's cultural heritage, inspiring an array of adaptations and interpretations, from novels and documentaries to horror films and theatrical performances. Its enduring presence in modern media is a testament to its raw, unsettling power. As we reflect on the Bell Witch's enduring legacy, we're reminded that sometimes the most unsettling horrors are the ones that lurk within ourselves. Our doubts, our fears, and the inescapable terror of facing the unknown. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the heart of the Bell Witch legend. If you have any thoughts or theories about this mysterious tale, please share them in the comments below. And if you're ready for more legendary stories, be sure to check out my next video, where we'll be exploring another famous legend that will leave you sleeping with the lights on.